For those of us fortunate to live under a communist dictatorship or a monarchy, you know that in your economy, you often have the choice of multiple options, and sometimes those options are very, very similar. Probably the classic example is Coke versus Pepsi. One of them is named after a sound effect, and the other one used to have a drug in it that was advertised as being medicine. But of course, there's other options too. Things like how do you build a house, brick or wood, or straw if you're a pig. Ninja or pirate, who do you fill your story with? So, yes, there can be two things very close to each other at market, and this is extremely true in the toy industry. Two of the largest brands both share what's called the wheels aisle, Hot Wheels and Matchbox. For decades, these two brands were competitors trying to go after the same child, parent, collector, where now, fast forward to modern times, and Matchbox and Hot Wheels are now both owned by the same toy company, Mattel. The big red gear, unless, of course, it's a big white gear if it's against orange, but you get the point. Hot Wheels and Matchbox, while they were competitors, it's hard to tell which one is best. People have argued about this for decades, when clearly the answer is right in front of us, and we all know the Spot, Spider-Man's villain, is the best. But when it comes to which toy car is better, well, there are different things that each one provides. One is more realistic, one is more fantasy, one is more about race, one is more about car history. I'm not going to go too much into the history of both brands. There's plenty of YouTube videos you can check out that do this in extreme detail. But essentially, Elliot Handler was the co-founder of Mattel, along with his wife, who created Barbie. Barbie's actually named after their daughter, Barbara. And while Elliot and Ruth Handler are known in the toy industry as pioneers of two of the biggest brands, Elliot tends to be the one who gets the credit for Hot Wheels. When he first looked at the track set and revised wheels that his engineers had designed for a small die-cast car based on the English die-cast toys that were sold, well, his response when the car zipped down the track was, "Those are some hot wheels." Well, it only took them 17 years of testing different product names before they finally settled on actually using the name Hot Wheels, and it stuck. It described the car and, most importantly, its differentiator. Hot Wheels were fast. Most toy cars before then were much more about authenticity. Hot Wheels weren't exactly 1/64th scale, they were slightly bigger than that, and that was a big contingent with a lot of die-cast collectors. But for kids, the bright colors and fantasy style, as well as racing theme, that was really permeating all of Hot Wheels material from their marketing to their playsets, well, not only did it differentiate Hot Wheels at market, but it created a lot of fans. A big design change, too, was adding tampo printing, which allowed Hot Wheels uniquely to print names, logos, and different things that normally would have to be done with very tiny hand print. The track sets were all about competition, racing, and speed. It was something that Hot Wheels could differentiate from its competitors, mostly, again, from England, and it didn't hurt that the cars were very inexpensive, brightly colored to attract children, and represented everything about car culture. Now, Matchbox, which again, as I noted, was a British-based toy manufacturer, well, it had a little bit of a different history. And again, not going to go into every detail, but essentially Jack O'Dell was the creator of Matchbox. He scaled down an existing toy car because his daughter's school only allowed toys to come into the classroom if they were the size of a matchbox. So, hence, Jack scaled down the car, made sure it fit, and lo and behold, Matchbox was born in the 1/64th scale for small toy vehicles. Of course, when Hot Wheels came onto the market and emphasized speed over authenticity, well, Matchbox countered with their super fast line, also improving the wheels so that they would run faster and be able to keep up with the competition, no pun intended. So, for decades, Matchbox and Hot Wheels continued until 1997 when, well, it was a great year for some people to graduate from high school, and for Mattel, it was the year that they decided to purchase Tyco, which came with Matchbox to boot. Now, Mattel, in adopting the Matchbox line, well, acquiring it, but they have not shuttered it at all. In fact, they've really embraced the heritage, offering commemorative, that's the word I was looking for, commemorative packaging and using logos, colors, and different iconography that really harkens back to the heritage of this brand that's been around since the 50s. Now, any business marketing professor with a very large mustache and an umbrella will tell you that a diversified portfolio is something most companies need in order to ensure a steady cash flow. one line should underperform, another can overperform and make up. Mattel is no different, and they work very hard to ensure all of their brands have a differentiator which makes them different from others, so they're not all marketing to the same consumer. Matchbox cars, while traditionally have been much more about authenticity and actually presenting cars in their true one-to-one scaled ratio, at Mattel, the way that they differentiated the line at market was by taking wheel play children, or children into wheel-based play, and dividing them into two buckets. Matchbox got the younger children, the sort of 2 to 4 year old child. And all of the Matchbox playsets were not only aged down to appeal to the younger child and the parent of a younger child with brighter colors, more action callouts, but the sets usually depicted sort of an adventure. And this was taken from a lot of the playsets Matchbox put out in the 60s and 70s, where Mattel simply updated the concept, and there was usually a story that happened in the course of the playset, in the course of the track. The car would start on one end, it would enter a castle, go underground, through caves. There was usually some kind of cursed statue or cursed skeleton or cursed pirate or cursed avocado tree. Something definitely always had a curse involved in these playsets, and the car would go through trying to avoid said curse and win the day. In other words, it was an adventure playset, much in tune with how action figure playsets are done. Hot Wheels, on the other hand, is 100% about racing. You're not going to see hairpin turned and even the upside-down loop-de-loops that are so iconic to the Hot Wheels brand in Matchbox. This is what really separates the brands. The older boy, the 4 to 10-year-old, is targeted as the Hot Wheels consumer. So while the younger boy gets playsets that are themed Mummy's Curse or, Outrun the Mongoose, for a Hot Wheels kid, it's much more about beat the competition and how fast can you go. A story-based play versus a race-based play. Now, while at the end of the day they're both offering play sets in 1/64th, I almost said 3 3/4. That's an action figure scale. They both offer essentially similar play pattern, especially when you're dealing with just the die-cast car and wheels. Hot Wheels does manage to continue to differentiate with things like the orange track and, again, those upside-down loops, which you're just not going to see in a Matchbox set. The idea of having realistic cars versus fantasy cars, the brighter colors, all things that Hot Wheels continues to enjoy, while Matchbox embraces the true scale, as well as more traditional car shapes, and cars and other vehicles that are going to encourage action-adventure, like boats, planes, trains, and, well, let's kind of face it, at the end of the day, no matter who is buying these cars, they're probably all going to wind up in the same giant box together and get mashed around. So, yeah, they're all the same scale, and at the end of the day, like Coke and Pepsi, if you take them out of their container and put them out, you're going to get brown liquid. Wait, no, that doesn't work at all. Forget that. The point is, you're going to get a toy car. What do you like? Hot Wheels? Matchbox? What do you think of the way Mattel differentiates them versus the way consumers do? Let me know in the comments below. Share this video, like and subscribe to the channel. It's much appreciated and a great way to show your support. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.